He screamed across the apartment that he would smash my computer. He ripped the headphones off my ears. He lied to his mother just to punish me. And then, 4 days later, he showed up at my office, furious, helpless, because the locks had already been changed. The car was parked inside a building he couldn't enter, and the bank account he thought was also his, empty. My name is Ashley Carter, and I didn't plan any of this. I just stopped pretending everything was fine and started preparing for the day it wouldn't be. Stay until the end, because the moment he realized what I had quietly done over the past 18 months, that moment made everything worth it. His name was Dylan Carter, and until 2 years into our marriage, I genuinely believed I had chosen well. Before the wedding, he was the kind of man women point to as an example. He surprised me with flowers on random Tuesdays. When we first moved in together, he did dishes without being asked, fixed things around the apartment before I noticed they were broken, and never once made me feel like a burden for having opinions. We laughed easily. We built things together. A home, a routine, a vision for what our future would look like. Then I bought a car. Not a flashy one, a practical, reliable car that I saved up for myself over 2 years. The day I drove it home, I thought he'd be proud of me. Instead, something shifted in his face, something I couldn't name then but recognized clearly now. Jealousy. From that week forward, Dylan changed. The man who used to be my partner became someone who needed to remind me, daily, that he was the one in charge. He stopped contributing at home but complained loudly when things weren't done. He started coming home from work and disappearing into his phone or the television for entire evenings without a word. He went out with his friends every week and spent money we were supposedly saving. But the moment I bought something for myself, it became a problem. And his parents got worse too. His mother Linda started dropping by unannounced more often after I got the car. Every visit came with a new financial complaint. Their fridge needed replacing. The car was old. The roof had a leak nobody was doing anything about. The hints were never subtle. She expected me to fill the gaps. His father went further. He once told me over Sunday dinner that since I was doing so well, you could probably contribute more to the family. He meant their family, not mine. I said no, clearly, without apology. That was apparently the second thing that made me an inconvenient wife. On a Saturday in October, Dylan walked into the living room where I was working and called my name. I was wearing headphones. I didn't hear him. He called again, still nothing. So he screamed, loud enough for the neighbors to hear, that he was going to smash my computer if I didn't start understanding what actually matters. I took off my headphones and looked at him. He wanted me to have cleaned the entire apartment and cooked a full meal before his mother arrived that afternoon. I told him calmly that I had mentioned yesterday, clearly to his face, that I had a work deadline. I told him if he was inviting his mother, he was responsible for hosting her. I told him not to touch my equipment again. He told me I was selfish, that his father would never have allowed his mother to behave this way, that I had no respect. I told him he was welcome to take that up with someone who had agreed to those terms. I hadn't. He stormed off and called his mother to tell her I didn't want her visiting, that we'd had a fight and things were tense. He didn't mention that the fight was entirely because he expected me to drop everything and serve his family on a Saturday. I had already told him I needed to work. Linda never came that day. By evening, I was in the kitchen making myself something to eat. The apartment was quiet. Dylan was lying in bed scrolling through his phone, somehow both furious and unbothered. I stood in that kitchen, looked at the mess that hadn't been touched all day, and understood something clearly. He had been counting on me to break, to feel guilty enough about the visit to put down my work, clean everything, cook something warm, and smooth it over. I hadn't done that, and it wasn't the first time I hadn't done that. It was just the first time I realized I was done doing it at all.
The truth is, I hadn't been sitting still. For the past 18 months, I had been quietly, carefully preparing. Not out of anger, out of clarity. I had watched Dylan's patterns long enough to understand that if we ever divorced, I would lose money. The joint finances, the car, the division of what we'd built, all of it would cost me, and he would benefit from things I had earned entirely on my own. So I started making adjustments. Slowly, methodically, without drama. I began withdrawing money from my personal account, not in one large, suspicious transfer, but in smaller amounts, timed around occasions. Birthdays, holidays, our anniversary, his parents' wedding anniversary, my parents' celebrations. Every withdrawal had a name attached to it, a reason, a gift that was presented as being from both of us. Dylan attended every single event. He smiled at every gift. He accepted every thank you without once questioning where the money came from or how much had actually been spent. Because I had a strategy. I had access, through my job, to vendor relationships most people don't. I could purchase certain items, things that looked expensive, that were presented beautifully, at a fraction of the retail price. The rest of the withdrawn money went somewhere else, somewhere Dylan didn't know about and couldn't touch. Over 18 months, I cleared out nearly everything from that account. He never noticed. Why would he? He wasn't paying attention to me. He was paying attention to himself. The apartment was mine, inherited from my grandparents. My name on the deed, never his. The car was in my name too. The only thing we truly shared was the mess of this marriage, and I had quietly decided what I was going to do about that as well. If you're watching this and something in this story feels familiar, if you've been quietly building your exit while someone else assumed you were staying, this channel is for you. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And if this story moved you and you want to support the channel, you can do that through Super Chat. Every bit of support helps these stories keep reaching the people who need them. That same evening, after I'd made myself dinner, and Dylan had spent the entire day in bed doing nothing, he walked into the kitchen. He looked at my food like it personally offended him. Then he said, "Give me $5,000. I want to go out with the guys tonight." I said, "Then my fork." "Why would I give you my money?" "Because you sat at your computer all day instead of doing what you were supposed to do. You owe me. And besides, what's yours is mine. We're married." I looked at him for a long moment. "You're welcome to go to court and explain that."
There's a certain kind of woman who doesn't make scenes. She doesn't scream, she doesn't threaten, she doesn't send long emotional messages at midnight. She pays attention, she makes notes, she plans. And one day, not today, maybe not this month, but one day, she's ready. If you are that woman right now, if you are somewhere in the middle of your own quiet preparation, I want you to know something. You are not paranoid. You are not vindictive. You are not difficult. You are paying attention to your own life, and that is exactly what you should be doing. Share this video with someone who needs it, someone sitting in a kitchen somewhere, finally beginning to understand what she's actually dealing with. Subscribe to the channel. Every week there's a new story here about women who stopped waiting for things to get better and started deciding what better actually meant for them. And if this story stayed with you, and you'd like to support the channel so these stories keep reaching the people who need them, you can do that through Super Chat. Every contribution, big or small, helps. See you in the next one.